What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Dan Russo Show, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. I'm your host, Kyle Bennett, and joining me is my co-host and namesake of the show, head coach of Vineland High School football, Coach Dan Russo. Coach, how are you? It's been a little bit since we've had an episode, but glad to be back in the booth with you and getting ready for the 151st meeting between Vineland and, as you always say, the crosstown rival.
Yeah, I hear you. How you doing, Kyle? Glad to be back. Yeah, the kids, we've had a good week and a half of practice here, and they've been working hard and looking forward to the big game on Thanksgiving, so it should be a good one.
It's always something that is celebrated, I think, in both cities, both Vineland and Millville, for the Thanksgiving game. It's tradition, it's, history. But this year, I think, on both sides, a lot of benefit for both teams going into this one, where up until, this past week, you guys have been playing, which, I think has been helpful with the postseason tournament implemented, that you guys were able to participate in, having those, 3 additional games leading into Thanksgiving this year. How helpful do you think that's been for this group that we've talked about, all season long, being probably close to 75% made up of sophomores and juniors? How helpful do you think that experience has been to kind of just keep them in game shape, keep them in a game mindset going into Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm real happy with it. It would have been a long 2 weeks, almost 3, getting ready for the game. So keep them active, keep them motivated, keep them playing, and it's good, especially with a younger team like you mentioned. I think against Ocean City, 10 of the 11 starters on offense were underclassmen, and then I feel like at one point it was 9 of 11 underclassmen on the defensive side. And kids are getting better. At this point, I tell the kids this game this time of year, it's almost like you're the next year. So some of the softs, you're like juniors now, and some of the juniors, you're like seniors, and then some of the seniors, I tell them they're like first-year college players getting ready. They play in college, so they're taking that step. And 2 or 3, sometimes 4 big plays a game we've not capitalized on, and other teams have. And that's what you get with a young team trying to finish out things. Like even against Ocean City, 4th and 10, we have 2 mistakes that if we were 50% on that play, we stop them, but we're 0%, right? And one mistake leads to the next, and they get on the 4th and 10, and they score their first points off of that. So just been that kind of season, and fortunately it's been tough getting off the field, on 3rd and then even sometimes 4th down, and then picking up the first down sometimes in short yardage. We've come up short and things like that, and it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and we've mentioned a number of times that, this season felt like that first, implementation of where you as a coaching staff expect this team to be, next year and the following year when a bunch of these guys are juniors and seniors. But going into Thanksgiving, this game, obviously a lot of tradition involved. You played in this game a number of times as a player. You've now coached in it. This will be your 10th season coaching it. What does, this game mean to you, being a Vineland guy and being able to still have one of the few Thanksgiving Day games that takes place in New Jersey? A lot of them have shifted to that week 0 week, but to still being able to play on Thanksgiving, have that, that tradition that has run now what will be 151 times, come Thursday. But what does this game every year mean to you?
It means everything. It's special, very special game for both towns, and everyone's family usually is in town, celebrating Thanksgiving, and it's nice to tie in the game, and they can go to it in person, or they can live stream it. So a lot of excitement. Um, Even when I played, I tell the guys they're always going to remember this game. I can remember, you know, some games, but the one in particular is, back in, let's see here, I guess it would be 91. Um, we were heavy underdogs going over to their place, and they were the better team record wise and on paper. But my teammates and I brought it that day, and we ended up beating them 28-0. So I actually got a scoop and score on that game, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, you just got to bring that energy and play 4 solid quarters of football, and anything can happen in this one.
What has the dynamic in practice been the past, 2 weeks, knowing that on your coaching staff, Coach Hendricks is now part of this coaching staff, coming from Millville. What has that dynamic been like for him? His alma mater, and now he's on the other side of the field.
Yeah, well, Coach Hendricks is all in with us. He's part of the Red and Gray family now, and he's done a spectacular job. We're so lucky to have him here, and you know, he's a great coach and great motivator. He's great with the kids. They have a lot of respect for him. His resume speaks for itself as far as playing, and even now his coaching resume. He's been in a few schools, but I can't say enough good things about Coach Hendricks. Very happy that he's here, and Coach Heck, who coached both of us, was able to help put that together. And Coach Hendricks, you know, trusted Coach Heck, and Coach Heck told him it'd be a good situation here in Vineland. That it's a good group of players and staff, and it's a close group, and we don't tolerate any bad behavior, things like that. So any negativity, and he fits in perfect. He's got a bright future. Young guy, mid 30s. As you know, played in the NFL, played for Miami, and I can't say enough good things. Works at CC Tech, the business teacher, so it works well. We have some kids that go to CC Tech and play, football here. So I've got eyes. We've got eyes at the Tech with our players. So it's all about finding the right fit on both sides. And fortunately for us, I feel like he likes being here, and we love having him here. So he's just going to get better um, each year and get more familiar with our kids. And he's brought a lot to the table. Very vocal coach, gets the defense together, speaks to the unit as a whole, and speaks to the team about like his life experiences. Playing high school, college, and NFL football, and tells them what needs to be done, and the kids respond well to him.
Yeah, I think he's fit in seamlessly with just the culture that's been built here by you and your staff when you first got here, and kind of just fit right in with everything where you guys want to build this thing. And in terms of coaching staff, obviously going into this game against Millville, has it been beneficial for you guys knowing that they've also been playing? You kind of have up to date film on them, knowing that they just played a game this past Sunday.
Yeah, they're a very explosive team. They've got a lot of really good players. Um, they've had a lot of success this year. You know, whether that translates into an advantage for us having their latest film, we'll see Thanksgiving. But they do a nice job over there. They got a good feeder program. They'd have a lot of success at the youth level, and it translates into success at the high school level. And they got 2 or 3 players, two that I know of that have some big time offers. So they're very talented. So we have our work cut out for us. You know, Being local here, the kids know them and they know us, and we kind of know what we got to do to be successful, and we'll do our best to win the game.
And I know, from opponents that you guys played last year, we've talked about it on a number of shows this year where you guys have wanted to kind of flip that script, adjust the score differential a little bit against these teams that you played last year and then playing them this year. Been pretty successful in doing that all season long, getting some points back on the board or flat out winning games against teams. What has that conversation been like? Obviously, with last year being a 47-0 outcome in favor of Millville, what's kind of the discussion to stay mentally prepared for this game, not let that shutout situation happen again? And obviously, you guys get the benefit this year. It's at Gatone Stadium.
Yeah, it's a different team last year, and try not to. Things change a lot in the course of a year. Obviously seniors move on, and then some of these younger guys, they grow up, but not really discussing that much. Just focused on this year, and preparing and doing what we need to do to put up a fight here, and give the Vineland fans something proud to be part of here. And kids have put the work in, and they're going to give it their best shot.
And with this coaching staff, you guys having been involved in so many of these Vineland Millville games, and myself included now in the broadcast booth with a bunch of them, it is that sense of tradition, and there's not that many things that carry along for over a century now, century and a half. Do you think this team kind of gets that sense of what this tradition is like, what this game is supposed to kind of feel like, especially for the guys who have played in it previously? Do you feel like they kind of have been able to send that message down to some of the guys who will get their first taste at Thanksgiving this year?
Down. That's why a lot of these kids come to Vineland, to be able to be part of that tradition in this game, and it's the biggest game of the year. And like I told the kids, throw the records out the door and previous games. It doesn't matter right now. It's just our last game of the season, the biggest game of the season, and it's the one they'll remember. So some of them have played against them at the youth level and know what that rivalry is about, and they get a taste of it. But this is varsity football here we're talking about now, and one of the longest traditions and rivalries in the country. So yeah, they know what's at stake, and they're real excited to be part of it.
And for you, obviously, like we mentioned, having played in it and now coached in it, I think just being from Vineland, it's a pretty cool thing when you get to talk about Thanksgiving traditions. You talk about the high school sports traditions, where this Vineland Millville rivalry is one of the longest running rivalries in the country, not just the state but the country. I think it's pretty cool that our city gets to also be part of something that's historic for this entire country.
Yeah, no doubt. Special time of the year, and like you said, it's one of the longest rivalries in the country, and you know, I'm glad and proud to be part of it, not only as a player but now as a coach, and our players know what's at stake, and you know, we're looking to have our kids ready for Thursday.
Over the years, there's been some quite electric matchups between these two teams, especially over probably say the last 5 years. There's been some pretty standout games. Are there any games now this going into your 10th one as a coach that have stood out to you over your coaching career with Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's definitely Tyrene Powell's senior year when we played him over there, and they scored late. We actually Levi played defended it very well, and I thought he had a pick six. Went through his hands into their receiver, and he kind of was just standing there. And all of a sudden, his hands went up and he caught it, and he ran it in for a touch. And I'm like, oh my lord, I can't believe this is happening. And it was a real crazy day with the wind. Our end zone camera blew over, and not easy to do anything that day. And fortunately for us, Tyreem hit Tony, Jonathan Tony, like maybe it's like a flat, some type of flat pattern. Coach Volpe designed it perfect. Him and Coach Heck were talking on the headset about what they thought, the defense would give us, and called a great play, and Tyreem connected, and Tony called it. And I think 2 plays we scored, and then Levi redeemed himself in the back of the end zone, and Tyreem threw probably the best pass I've ever seen any one of our quarterbacks throw right in the back of the end zone. And Levi made one of the best catches, fortunately for him, after what happened 2 plays prior, and the rest is history. But that was an unbelievable game. Um, we've had good games with them, beating them 4 years in a row. 2 years, with Pacheco at quarterback, and then 2 years with Powell at quarterback, and all the great supporting cast players we had, you know, good times, So hopefully we can continue to have an exciting rivalry, and we're just going to do our best to get better. Like I said, they're a really good team. Hats off to them for what they've accomplished this year. They've played some tough games, and they're pulling them out. I think the last 2 games they won with under a minute left. First against Hamilton, and then against Mainland. And like I said, they're very talented, very confident group. They fly around making plays on offense and defense and special teams. They got a lot of team speed, and they have some tough kids, and they play very aggressive. So hopefully our kids can match that intensity and put up a fight here.
First time coaching against their new head coach as well. Obviously, the past few years, Dennis Thomas was leading the charge over there. He's now at Rutgers, but new head coach. What's that going to be like? Just kind of a new installment into this rivalry with a new coach over there that you get to go toe to toe with.
Yeah, no doubt. And just for the record, under my watch, we were 4-3 against Mr. Thomas. I'm going to throw that
Don't let
out
him
there.
forget it, Tyreem. Don't let him forget
Yeah,
it.
and he doesn't because he sees him at Rutgers now. So Tyreem, his class, Tyreem, um, Conrad, Jackson, Barry Turner, Ryan Shelton, 4-0 against them. That's pretty special. They won every game every year under when they were in school here. So that's pretty neat with that group. Um, but yeah, I've briefly met the new coach. I'll chat with him Thursday morning, uh, and we'll start a new rivalry here with each other. So we'll see how it works out.
Give him the good old Gatone Stadium welcome.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
On top of just, how special this game is for, the tradition and everything, to have it back at home. Obviously, you guys switch off every other year, but to be able to play Thanksgiving at home, how fun is that?
Yeah, we love our field. It's a great field. Yeah, it is special. I like playing at home a lot better than going over there. So um, hopefully the fans come out, which I think they will, and we have great weather in the forecast. And our kids have worked extremely hard, and they're going to give it the best shot they have. And um, it's always an exciting day for both towns.
Yeah, it's always a good kickoff to the day because it's right in the morning. And then this year, on top of it, you're going to have the early NFL games. You got the World Cup going on right now, which is a rare thing. And then you got football the rest of the day, too, which is always exciting. I always love that Vineland Millville is the start to the day each and every year. But, Coach, leading into this, obviously, you mentioned after Ocean City having like a week and a half of practice here now. What has, the practice vibe been like? What has that preparation been like for you guys going into this one, coming off of, three straight games against, some postseason tournament games, and then that Ocean City exhibition that you guys had there to kind of stay fresh and, be in a game mindset?
Well, today was a lot nicer than the previous week. We had some cold weather and some wind, and we were trying to get the kids out there. And it's not easy practicing in the elements, but today was beautiful, like low 50s. You know, minimal wind, not much at all, and we had a good practice. So it's football weather today, and it seems like the rest of the week we're going to have great weather. So it helps with practice. The kids aren't distracted with the cold. It's not easy going out there for 2.5, 3 hours, and cold weather. So today was really good. Like I said, the kids fought the elements this week. We had good practice outside, and we got some good work in, and they've been able to watch some film of our opponent. We got all their film, as do they of us. So with what we have here called Huddle, it makes it very convenient to download their games, and it's convenient for all the teams now. I used to have to like drive and meet people with this, but now with a touch of a computer key, you can send it to them. So you know, um, should be a good game. We'll have Hitchens back. He's healthy. We've got DJ Clark will be back as well. Um, Julio Garcia. We've got some seniors that are healthy now and use some of this downtime to their benefit. And against Ocean City, we didn't have those guys, so they'll be back and they'll contribute to the game.
And, to be able to have pretty much an all hands on deck situation for, a big game like this, that's got to be beneficial for you guys as a staff to kind of just be able to game plan a multitude of different scenarios where you can use X amount of players, because it is, kind of empty the tank at this point. It's the last game of the season. You can try some things out, see how they work, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And I think that's a benefit of, having a Thanksgiving game where it is a final game here. But like you mentioned earlier, it is kind of, that start to next season and kind of preparing for 2023 at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I mentioned, the kids have been working hard. Getting those kids back will help. Not having Hitchens in the mix kind of changes the offense as far as the passing game. So getting him back, with his athletic ability, it will help. And then getting some other guys back will help as well. But especially with Hitchens in the passing game, he's one of our best receivers. He ended up getting second team all conference, which was great considering he missed 3 games or so and didn't have the stats that some of the other guys had. So the coaches know what type of caliber player he was, that we're able to play against before he got injured. So, he's really going to help us. Like I said, he's a good player. And, some kids have stepped up too, like some of the younger guys are learning, like that. You see Xavier Diaz, Mason Afanador, you got sophomores, Charles Clark, some of these sophomores stepping up and doing a nice job for us. It's good to see. So, our guys will be ready. Speaking of, Hitchens getting all conference second team, we had Tayshawn Newman, second team, all conference for linebacker. And then we even had our punter, Colin Greif, get first team all conference for punting. We had, Emmanuel Devalis get it for defensive end, first team. And, Tyrell Tank Powell at defensive back, plays corner for us. He was first team. Patrick Gilbert for offensive line was first team. And then, our quarterback, Daniel, was voted in by the coaches as like one side of each side of the ball gets one for athlete. So it's nice that our kids got recognized. I was very happy with the results of that. when you go into these meetings, it's the coaches in the conference, and with us we have 5 teams, so it's Township, Clearview, Kingsway, Holy Spirit, and those coaches voted our players on because you can't vote for your own players. So it was nice to see that our opponents acknowledged our players and voted them on that. So we got you know 5 people first team and 2 players with the second. I think that's pretty impressive. And most of them are back. I think 5 of the 7 are underclassmen, so that's pretty strong.
Yeah, that's big time. Congratulations to all 7 of them, and
Yeah,
a lot
thanks.
of
There
those.
wasn't many underclassmen on it, so most of the teams that got kids on there were seniors. So it's that's where we're at as a program, and it was nice to see that the other coaches felt that way and got our kids some recognition.
Absolutely, and I think a majority of those guys you named, we ended up having on the show this year as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
and I think you brought up the weather and getting ready for game like scenarios, practicing in it. You bring up Colin. I think this year he was such a weapon for you guys, and to get him reps, in some below average weather, I think is also huge for him to kind of just figure out the elements just in case of a scenario of wind or anything like that. But I think this year was such a huge benefit for you guys, where we've talked in the past, winning all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Having Colin back there and the way he performed this year, whether it was a clean punt or he was under duress and somehow finding a way to you know sidewind kick a ball away on a punt or anything like that. He was so valuable to this team, and I don't think it can go understated enough of how much of a benefit it was to have his leg as a weapon in your guys' arsenal.
Yeah, the 2 biggest improvements, I feel are the offensive line and the kicking game, meaning Colin with kicking field goals, kickoffs, punts. Showed great improvement. The offensive line has gotten better every week. Coach Gilbert's doing a hell of a job. Um, Offensive line's doing a hell of a job, and you know it's nice to see the kids progressing and getting better. And Colin, he has the trainer for 5-star kicking, which does a great job, and he's got injured in youth football, and I think he's finally this year getting back to 100%. He had a knee injury that he's overcome, and he's getting better every day. He works hard at it. Mentioned before when I've had some kickers in the past, they would kind of do their thing for 30, 45 minutes, and there really not much for them to do, so they would take off. But Colin insists on staying with the team the whole time. He's a different type of kicker, different mentality. He wants to be here, and he's one of our captains. He's done a great job.
Yeah, he was fantastic this year, and you brought up Tayshawn Newman as well, where he gets the all conference on the defensive side of things, but he also stepped up this year when Charles Burke goes out week 1 of the season and ends up playing some very valuable tight end for you guys as well, and being versatile on both sides of the ball, like a number of the players have this year. And I think that was also just an admirable thing where you brought up a few weeks ago. You asked him, hey, do you want to win? And Tayshawn said absolutely. So he went both sides, and I think he performed well not only at the linebacker position and that being his strong suit, but playing tight end again. I think he was fantastic for you guys and stepped up in a lot of ways, scored some touchdowns, and was a very valuable piece on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, definitely. Some of these younger guys, like we mentioned, are getting better every week and doing what needs to be done to help their teammates. So yeah, he's done a nice job, and real proud of these guys for hanging in there and finishing it out.
Going into Thursday morning, like we mentioned, final game of the season, nice little morning kickoff and everything at Catone Stadium. What is kind of, the message to the team leading into this game? Obviously, kind of a quote unquote short week in a normal week, but you guys have obviously had an extra, week of no game action. But what's kind of the message to everybody going into this one in terms of just mindset, mentality, and just leaving it all out there on the field because, like we mentioned earlier, this is the last opportunity you're going to get a chance to play football with this exact unit ever.
Yeah, it's exactly what I told them. It's last game of the year for the seniors. It's their last time putting on those red and gray uniforms. So leave it all out in the field. Work hard at practice. Stay in the moment during the game. Look at the scenarios, what's going on. Know what's going on. Know what your opponent's trying to do, and just eliminate some mistakes. And we got to make plays. So there's no feeling like it. I've been on um, the winning side as a player and a coach, and it's the best feeling ever. And you know, it doesn't come easy, but you got to work hard and see if you can pull it off. And hopefully, we will.
And I know, I'm sure there's been conversation, but you can confirm or choose not to. Has there been discussion with Tom McGurk about getting that trophy back this year?
Not yet, no. But I saw us putting it out there on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I liked having it here for 4 years. That's for sure. So it's nice to get it back here at Vineland.
It's always good to see Tom on the sidelines too on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no doubt. I've developed a real, you know, great relationship with Tom. He's a great guy, and always enjoy our conversations and talking sports with him. He's an awesome sports writer, and looking forward to seeing him as well.
How fun is it too, with that aspect of Vineland Millville being like that premier Thanksgiving Day game with the history, with the rivalry, that a lot of the reporters do come out and they finally do come watch this team play. Where during the season, it's not always like that because of the shortage in sports writers now, and the condensing of the written word in journalism. I feel like a lot more of the reporters from all over take that opportunity to come out to Vineland Millville because it is the hot ticket in town.
It is exciting. The kids, feel the excitement when they're getting some extra press, and they like the media attention, things like that. So yeah, our kids know Tom McGurk, and they know who he is when they see him, and they speak with him, and so do my coaches and I. And it's nice to get some recognition in in his newspaper and everything. So yeah, it's a good thing.
And we always talk about looking good, feeling good, playing good. It feels like every year Thanksgiving there's a different jersey combination. Like you mentioned that game before with Tyreem. You guys had kind of that color rush situation going on that year. There's been some different jersey combos over the past few years on Thanksgiving. What does 22 have in store for the red and gray on Thanksgiving at Gatone Stadium?
Yeah, well, I let the seniors pick it. Usually week to week, I talk to seniors. It's their final game, and I wanted to see what they wanted to wear. So they decided, we're going to go with our red and gray jerseys and the black pants with the red belts and then the red socks. So it should be a good look with our red and gray helmets. So, you know, keeping the school colors always in all our uniforms, always have the red and the gray in some form. Sometimes even with the blackout jersey, they have red and gray in the numbers. So we're real big on that. Doing our best always to make sure we design nice uniforms for the football team. So yeah, we'll be rocking that. So kids got their jerseys today. They'll be wearing them tomorrow to school on Wednesday, and have the big bonfire. We're gonna have our practice, get a half day, like I said. Go to practice, come back in. I'm gonna order, some pizzas from Manny and Vic's. You know, my good friend Victor Villar, who I went to high school with and graduated together. He was another athlete here at the school, wrestler. He's got a great place in addition to Bagel University over there that everybody knows. So I was asking the kids what type of pizza they like, and I got a request for one I've really never had, and I doubt I'm going to try it. But one Jordan Bennett wanted pineapple with bacon on pizza, so that's a first.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think I might stay away from that one.
That's
But if
like
that's what he wants,
That's like an American fusion of the Hawaiian pizza. Instead of the
Yeah,
ham, it's just bacon.
yeah. So it's pretty funny. They call the bacon pizza. They like swine pizza. They call it. These kids. So that's what they
That's
want.
incredible.
That's what we'll get them. So, oh, these kids are funny. Some
That's
of the stuff
funny.
they have. So
Swine pizza. That's a first for me.
they want some swine on their pizza. They tell me. So we'll get them swine on the pizza.
That's very funny. Shout out to Jordan Bennett.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll have the pizza, and then we meet up with the band and the cheerleaders, and do like the little snake dance down to the back of the 910. We'll have the bonfire, and try to get them out of here by 7 o'clock, so then get some rest, and then the following morning, Thanksgiving, we have the Vineland firemen. They cook the band and the cheerleaders and football team breakfast. It's awesome. Real thankful for that. And then we get ready and head over to Gatone.
hey, at least that bonfire. If you're getting them out by 7, at least the sun's going down at 4:15 now, so that fire will be burning for a few hours.
Yeah, yeah, they're not as big as when I was here, and they were huge. But yeah, it gets it done. It'll be nice. Good weather planned, so it should be good.
Yeah,
Sometimes they have to cancel it if it's heavy winds or rain. So I'm glad the weather's working out.
that's always one of the fun, build up traditions too, I think on Thanksgiving is, just for everybody involved, not just, the team and the cheerleaders and the band. Like that's one of the traditions for Vineland High School as a whole is, the night before it's like, oh, we're going to the bonfire. You got to come out to
Yeah,
the pre-Thanksgiving bonfire.
yeah, it's a good time. They even added some electric out there, and they have we have a DJ now with big shots.
Look at that.
So they got a DJ out there. I'm not sure exactly which DJ they got. I'm sure they told me, but I'm just drawing a blank. But kids like it, so whatever the kids like, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Not a whole lot to do in Vineland, so hopefully they can attend and at least have something fun to do.
Absolutely. It's a nice, lead into an extended weekend for everyone that's in school and teachers and everything to kind of have that event go on, and you kind of know where everybody is too. And I think it's a nice, build up, like we said, to the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I'm looking forward to the festivities and then getting over to Gatone Thursday for the game.
And obviously, we'll have a season recap show next week, Coach, to kind of put a bow on 2022. But one more game on deck. But when you look back on this season and kind of the ups and downs that you guys had, a lot of successes, some down moments as well. But that comes with any team for the most part. What are some things that'll stand out to you about this group in particular as you get set to go into Thanksgiving and get set to put a bow on 2022 as a whole for this season?
Yeah, the main thing always as a coach, you just want the kids to give it their all, and I can say that they did, and they fought to the end in some of these games. A couple plays away, and some of them we had, close one with Oakcrest, who ends up making the playoffs. And actually won a playoff game, like first time I think in a long time for them, according to what I read. Had a couple battles there with Egg Harbor. I felt that we were competitive in considering last year I think they beat us 42-0, and this year we ended up losing maybe one time by a touchdown and maybe the other game by two, and they got a touchdown late. Um, hung in there with Holy Spirit. One of the best teams in the state, another playoff team, and Ocean City, another great program who had the similar record as us, but they had a tough schedule as well, and a couple plays away in that one. Played Penn Talking tough on homecoming, another team that was 8-0. So it's not easy, not an easy schedule, but the kids are competing. Kingsway kind of got away from us. They're a real good team. They were hitting on all cylinders that night. But went to Clearview and not an easy situation. Lost to them the year before, and then beat them. So the kids hung in there and competed. And in my position, that's all you can ask for is the kids go out there and give it their all. And I tell the kids this week too. the kids that are left now, I mean, you're football players. Committed to the program. You're out here working hard. You're making practices. You're putting the work in, and good things will happen. And a lot of kids have made some really great plays this year. They're going to have some really great film. I feel like we have some players in the program right now that can play at the next level, and we're going to keep building here and do our best to win football games and win the right way with the right type of kids here. No shortcuts. Instill discipline. Our kids are very respectful to the Vineland football program and to the community. And I talk to them about it all the time, doing the right things. And you got to make sure you can be trusted in doing the right things when people aren't watching. So I think our kids, have understood that, and they try to be leaders in the school. And every now and then, a kid will make a mistake, and you try to explain to them reasons that they can't do that type of thing, but it's minimal. And we've got great kids here, so I'm real proud of them.
And let's not forget, you talk about winning football games, Coach. Some big adversity overcoming that first round of the postseason tournament.
Yeah, I hear you, man. No doubt.
A big overcoming adversity win. I think that is something that'll go down just in Vineland High School football history
Yeah, you're
as
right.
a whole.
Yeah, I forgot about that with all the views with that first down thing. It's a whole nother conversation, but I guess we're known nationwide now.
We're on the map, Coach.
Like 8 million views or whatever it was. So
Yeah, we posted it on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Instagram. It eclipsed 10,000 views so far, and it just keeps going. I wake up every morning. There's just like 200 new likes on the video. It hit the
wow,
algorithm in the right way, and everybody is seeing it.
that was pretty good commentating by you and Rich, especially you, and that was kind of suspect.
To say the least.
Yeah,
And I think that that podcast we did, kind of getting your first thoughts out there. It's our most viewed YouTube video on the channel, so
oh,
everybody
good.
was waiting for the response on Spotgate.
Yeah, that was it was definitely unusual. Unfortunately, we do have the live stream, and it was picked up because it was just huddled the way we do it. We wouldn't have had it. So that's the hats off to everyone involved. Doug zoomed in on that, and there were some severe consequences for that official, and I know they're still discussing what's going to happen. But I know, unfortunately, for the other guys involved, I think they took the entire crew off games for the rest of the year. So it was definitely suspect, as you said.
Absolutely, we need the hammer that came down for that to be in the NFL as well with some of the officiating jobs we've seen over the past few weeks in the
Yeah, it's
NFL.
odd. It's getting worse. I don't know what the problem is. Especially when you have instant replay, you should be able to get
Yeah,
things right. But well, it's not an easy job, and
Roger Goodell needs to hit up the NJSIAA to figure some things out.
yeah, no doubt.
But coach, as we always do, it feels like obviously we have homecoming, but it always does feel like the Thanksgiving game is more of a homecoming situation where you have people past, present, from all walks of life coming back to Vineland and Millville every year to come take in the game, and we always wrap up talking about our alumni, and we'd be remiss to not talk about once again primetime Pop on Sunday Night Football. 100-yard rushing game for the first time in his career. First 100-yard rusher for the Chiefs since week 4 of 2021. Got a Sunday Night Football player of the game nod, along with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. And the Chiefs get another big-time win against a division rival in the Los Angeles Chargers. And Pop was a big part of that.
It's just amazing. He just keeps raising the bar, and he's a competitor and got a great work ethic. And as you know, he's very talented. So he's just going to keep getting better. It's like amazing to watch. Watching Sunday Night Football and watching you know, our own Vineland football alum with Isaiah, and he's very special, and couldn't be more proud of him. You know, we exchange text messages and stuff like that. He's busy, so I do my best to communicate with our players here, and you know, it's amazing. I'm at a loss of words for how awesome it is.
Yeah, it seems like each and every week he just continues to accomplish something new for his own career as a rookie or something that hasn't been done for the Chiefs in over a year, which is pretty impressive for somebody who somehow fell to the seventh round of the 2022 NFL Draft. And the guy who kind of paved the way before him, we have a Jamil Demby update. He's kind of been zero dark 30 on us a little bit, but out of the blue, he has been drafted to Dwayne The Rock Johnson's version of the XFL starting in 2023. Going to the Vegas Vipers is Jamil Demby. Very excited for him. I did text him the night that he got drafted. He's very excited to get to Vegas. And I might be making my way out there, Coach. I might be making my way to a game in Vegas once we find out where they're going to be playing. His new head coach is NFL legend Rod Woodson, played for the Steelers,
Hmm.
and a lot of notable players, former NFL players, on that Vegas Vipers team and in this iteration of the XFL. I think this is a huge opportunity for Jamil, obviously coming off that knee injury. He's going to get a chance to really showcase his talents in a more consistent, limelight and really show what he can do as an offensive lineman and work his way back to getting back to the NFL.
Yeah, no doubt. He'll make the most out of this opportunity, and like you said, he'll get back to NFL form. I'm sure he'll be back in the league. But yeah, that's exciting news, and I'm gonna make sure I send him a text as well. So let me know when you're going to Vegas.
Yeah, I'm trying to fit. Once they release the schedule, I'll know. Got to make my way out there and support somebody who's supported us since day one. And, it is pretty cool, Isaiah in the red Chiefs uniform and now Jamil back in some red, white, and black with that
Yeah,
Vegas Vipers team.
yeah, no doubt. That's good stuff.
And then, Tyreen playing at Rutgers, the Vineland Midget Football League, had a nice little field trip up there to Rutgers for their final home game of the season. Tyreen just another fantastic year for the Scarlet Knights, and we'll await to see what his next move is, and whether it's going back to Rutgers, preparing for the NFL. Either way, he's going to be successful. But another season in the books for Tyreen at Rutgers.
Another outstanding player for us, and yeah, I text with Tyreem a lot, and he's staying positive. They've had some tough games here, and they're still trying to rebuild that program. It's not easy with some of the teams they're playing, but they're staying positive. If one coach can get it done there, in my opinion, it's Coach Shiano, and he'll figure things out. It's just you're in that Big Ten with all this tradition, all these football schools for so many years that they're playing catch up, and it's not easy. So um, they're going to keep working hard, and hopefully they can get some wins and beat Maryland this week.
Yeah, and I saw two future NCAA collegiate football players on this current Vineland football team making a trip to the Ivy League. Dan and Tank going to take a visit at Princeton. I'm sure they enjoyed that visit quite a bit. Obviously, Princeton, a highly regarded school across the country. It's right in our backyard. What was that visit like for them?
Yeah, it was incredible. We were all very impressed. I've never been there for a football game, and I didn't expect those facilities. I mean, the facilities were over the top, and I couldn't be more impressed. And Coach Serace, um, he played next door to us. His dad was a legendary coach of the neighboring town here, and he couldn't have been nicer to us. What a great job Coach Serace has done at Princeton, and got all types of Ivy League championships. You know, I just could. The staff was great. You know, um, we got there around 10 o'clock. We had a visit, got to meet the staff first, and they took us, for a tour around campus. And then we were on the sidelines pregame, and we got to stay for the game. Uh, the Powell family had to leave a little bit early because they were heading to Rutgers to watch Kyrene play against Penn State. So um, they were able to tie that in. It was neat because, Princeton's maybe 35, 40 minutes from Rutgers. So they just shot down Route 1 and they were able to do both. So what a day for the Powell family, visiting Princeton and then going to Rutgers for that game. But, you know, I was very impressed with Princeton, football. You like to go see what a culture's like at a school, and they have a great culture, great energy, great attitudes, and they support all their sports teams. I think they mentioned they have 38 varsity sports, which is incredible. And everybody knows about Princeton's education. You know what that means. You get a degree from Princeton. It has some weight, I'd say, in the workforce. So couldn't have been a better day. We had decent weather. It's not that far. I think once we hit Defford, it was maybe 50 minutes, so it's not terrible. Rutgers is another 30 to 40 minutes, makes a difference. But I couldn't. I was actually very impressed with the facilities, the coaches, the players. It was an exciting day. It was a great game. They came up a little short, 5 seconds left on fourth down. Penn scored. It was a battle. Princeton led the entire game, and felt bad for them. They played very hard. It just didn't work out, and they should be back. I'm sure they'll be back and ready for next year. But yeah, like I said, the kids had a great time. I had a great time, and very impressed with Princeton.
Yeah, I have some connections there with everything we do with lacrosse. There's two superstar pro lacrosse players that made their way out of Princeton, and they're two of the best players on the planet. So when I
Wow.
hear Princeton, I know it's the real deal, and those two guys are very close with me. I know them pretty well, and knowing that they came out of Princeton too just adds to just how talented in both the classroom they were, and obviously on the lacrosse field as well. And like you mentioned, 38 varsity sports at the Ivy League level is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, and um, the reason that Daniel and Tyrell were able to even think of a school like that is because what they've done in the classroom. Both of them have the highest GPAs I've ever had for any player since I've been here. They're both over like a 4.2 GPA in the advanced placement classes, and they've done the academic piece, so they're viable for an Ivy League school or maybe even Patriot League school. So we'll see what happens there with the both of them. But wouldn't it be neat to see, some Vineland football players attending, some school like Princeton? We'll keep our fingers crossed here, and hopefully they can continue to do well in the classroom on the football field, and hopefully in a couple of years you and I are talking about some kids from Vineland that got into Princeton University or in an Ivy League school. It'd be pretty cool. We had Teray Douglas, right? Was he with you?
Yeah, he was a year behind
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
He went to
I know.
Columbia.
Yeah, before I got here, he was he graduated the year prior, and I know that he went to Columbia. So that's unbelievable. So hats off to him as well, getting into Columbia, another Ivy League school, and if the kids take advantage of what we have to offer and work hard in the classroom, great things can happen.
Yeah, this is the second straight year for you guys as well, having invites to an Ivy League, because obviously last year Emmanuel had the invite to Harvard. So the Ivy League has their eyes on Vineland football now.
That's pretty cool. And I've got a lot of coaches contacting me, and they have certain requirements. And when I see what the requirements are, I see what our kids, have as far as the academic piece. And if they're viable for those type of schools, then I'm going to recommend them. So I enjoy doing it, and I love seeing these kids excel at the next level.
Absolutely, and Coach, going into Thanksgiving here, any final thoughts on the game? Any final thoughts for the listeners to get them ready for a Thanksgiving kickoff? And if you're not able to make it to the game, you can watch it on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel. Myself and Rich Scarp on the call. 10:30 kickoff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 10:30. Yep.
So 10:30 in the morning kickoff there on the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel or at Catone Stadium. So make sure you subscribe to the Vineland Public Schools YouTube channel to be able to take that in on your TVs at home. But Coach, any final thoughts to everybody at home to get ready for the 151st matchup between Vineland and Millville?
I'd just like to say I'm proud of the kids, the way they've handled themselves this year. A lot of ups and downs. Young team here with a lot of injuries this year, unfortunately. We've had some key players go out with Jamison, our starting tackle, our biggest lineman, going down in the scrimmage with an ACL. That hurt us right out the gate. 6'7", 315 lineman's not easy to replace. So got hit a little bit with the injury bug here. We had Burt out, a lot of adversity. Lose our tackle, then we lose our tight end. We lose Hitchens for a while. Some linemen have been missing. Gilbert was down for a while, but the kids hung in there, battled back, and I'm proud of them for the effort. Obviously, I like to win on the scoreboard, but my position, you got to make sure that we're getting the best out of the kids, and they're going out there and competing. And I feel like they have competed. That they're giving it their all, and won a few games here. Obviously we have some losses as well, but kids hung in there and battled, and I feel like fairly healthy for this one. And they're going to go to Gatone. We're going to bus over, and kids are going to be ready and fired up. And it's Thanksgiving Day rivalry here, big game, and anything can happen. So we're hoping for the best, and our kids are going to go out there and and coaches and give it their best shot.
And before we do the whole wrap up, to make sure you guys subscribe and everything, what's on the Thanksgiving plate at the Russo house? What goes on Coach Russo's Thanksgiving plate?
Yeah, well, fortunately, I got a great wife that has been doing it for the last at least 10 years, because we have to stay home. We can't really travel because we're here for the game, and then afterwards, it's a little time consuming. The kids bus back, and we have to collect their equipment and things like that. But definitely, Misty does a great job with the turkey, so that'll be first on there. Mashed potatoes and stuffing, they're the three main things for me. I got to make sure I get that, and then she makes all kinds of stuff. Sweet potatoes and corn and all that good stuff, but she does a hell of a job. And we're going to have her parents at our place, and then my parents will be there. So it'll be a great day, and all the kids will be there. So we're looking forward to it. I know my daughter Brianna just got home tonight from Monmouth, so it's great seeing her before I headed over to do the show. And my oldest Kaylee, she'll be here too on Thanksgiving. So it'll be a fun day, and looking forward to it. Hopefully the meal will be tasting a lot better with a big Vineland win.
Putting that Daily Journal cup right in the middle of the table there, Coach. But before we sign off, yeah, that'll be in your hand all the way through, putting everything on the plate.
Yeah, definitely.
But make sure you guys are following us on social media across the board to keep up to date with the game. It's at Vineland FB on Twitter, the Red and Gray Gridiron Group Facebook page, and of course at Underground PHI on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast feed, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify. That's where you get every episode of the Dan Russo Show each and every week. Make sure you subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps the show continue to grow, helps more people find the Dan Russo Show. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Full video episodes of the Dan Russo Show every night leading into the game. So this will be live on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. To take it all in and get ready for a big Thanksgiving game. But subscribing to the YouTube channel is big time for us, helping both Vineland football and our company grow. So subscribe, smash that like button, comment down below your favorite Vineland football Thanksgiving game memory, and 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It's at Gatone Stadium this year. Kickoff, Vineland Millville, the 151st meeting between the Fighting Clan and the Thunderbolts. Be there, and if not, I'll be on the call with my partner Rich Scarpa up in the booth from Gatone Stadium, taking in another historic matchup between Vineland and Millville. Coach, best of luck. Hopefully next week that trophy will be with you when we do our season recap, and looking forward to another installment of a great Thanksgiving rivalry.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Thanks. Really doing the show, and you're doing a great job. So appreciate all you do for the Vineland football program.
So for Coach Russo, I'm Kyle Bennett. This has been another episode of the Dan Russo Show, presented by the Red and Gray Gridiron Group and Underground Sports Philadelphia. Best of luck to Vineland. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And we'll be back for one final episode in 2022 next week to wrap up the season. But until then, we'll see you next week.